Hey gang, Bob Bannister here from CGCM Rock Radio. How you doing? Hope you're having an absolutely great one. Coming at you with another video in the series of Rock Talk. Now, before we get going on this one, do us all a favor. You know what to do. Click that like, that share, that subscribe. Tell your friends, tell your family, tell everybody about this cool little internet channel that you know of that interviews some really cool rock stars, and drop us a comment while you're at it as well. So this time around, we're heading across the pond. We're not going west this time around. We're going east. We're going across to the UK and interviewing a band called Lesbian Bed Death. These guys are the hottest new band coming out of the UK. Okay, I say hottest new band. They've got 9 albums behind them, and I'm just finding out about them. So new to me. Their latest effort is called Satan's Cellar. Had a great time chatting with them. Kind of had a Brady Bunch thing going on, everybody up here and up there and everywhere, but it was a whole lot of fun. So let's step into the studio, have a chat with Lesbian Bed Death on this edition of Rock Talk with CGCM Rock Radio. Right, and as promised, here we go on another edition of Rock Talk with CGCM Rock Radio. We are joined by a band this time around from Stoke-on-Trent. Boy, I don't know why I always mess that up. Every single time. From the UK, the band is Lesbian Bed Death. You love them, you know them. We play them on CGCM Rock Radio. Joining us right now so far, we've got Daniel Peach joining us. How you doing, my friend?
Hey, I'm great. Thank you very much. Thank you for having us on your show. Really appreciate it.
Absolutely blast to have you on the show, and I gotta say, your brand new album, Satan's Cellar, absolutely fantastic. One of our favorites so far this year.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Glad you like it.
You- You're quite welcome. So tell us the story of Lesbian Bed Death for those who might not be so familiar with the band.
Okay, the band started approximately 100 years ago. It feels that way anyway. I mean, I used to be in like a hardcore sort of metal band called Razorwire a long time ago, and I wanted to do a little side project, and I just came up with the name Lesbian Bed Death I saw on a television program, and I just thought that's kind of a fun, cool name for a rock band because I wanted to do like a goth punk with a bit of glam kind of thing,
Hmm.
something a bit of fun, nothing too serious, and that's the name we used, and we were going to make one album, and that was going to be that. I was going to go back to my regular band, and unfortunately for my other band is that Lesbian Bed Death took off. People liked it, actually were buying our albums, and we did a few shows, and people actually turned up. So, but my other band was kind of fizzling out anyway at that point, and so I just sorry, I don't know if you can hear my dog snoring in the background. That's not me. That's the dog. Yeah,
It's all good.
there she is. So yeah, I mean, and all these years later, we've struggled to get like a lineup that's consistent because when you're doing these things with friends and people you meet on back then MySpace or Facebook,
Yep.
people
Yep.
come and go, and it's very, very difficult to find people on the same page. People who really want to take a band to that next level.
Hmm.
And I feel like now, finally, after all these years, we finally have a lineup um, that have an opportunity to perhaps take the ridiculous band that we started somewhere a little further up. We've done some like real tours. Because in the old days we just do the occasional one-off local show, or we
Right.
might travel 2 hours somewhere and play a gig at the weekend, then come back and everyone goes back to their day jobs and whatever. We still all have day jobs, but we'll take a lot more time off work to say do a whole week's tour and things like that now. And we're just trying to make this more of a thing.
Hmm. Hmm.
Um,
And it definitely sounds like you're having a whole lot of fun doing it as well, I gotta say.
Absolutely. That's the most important thing, I think, with the band. I mean, the days of up and coming musicians becoming multimillionaires and buying a house in Beverly Hills and having 10 Lamborghinis on the front drive. I mean, that's all stuff from the 80s, isn't it? I think the internet kind of took a lot of that away.
Yeah, I think you're right. And you
Yeah.
know what? On one hand, it's made for things to be a different scene, but at the same time, it's made for it to be, in my opinion, a better scene. It's, because we get all kinds of great creatives coming out of everywhere, and it's
Yeah.
not throttled or controlled by a big, massive conglomerate.
That's right. And I think there is an element that although we're trying to obviously it'd be nice to make a living from what we do, I think first and foremost to be in a band with any longevity, you've got to really love what you're doing. You've got to be passionate about it. And that's not just being on stage, that's the traveling in a van together to the show, that's the going to the airport together. It's the hanging out with fans after a show and signing CDs. You've got to love all of it, the whole thing. Um, and yeah, it makes for better bands. It makes for more real bands, And our band, well, it's had different lineups. We've been around for a long time, and I think that gives us a certain amount of credibility, doesn't it? Really, I hope we're not a flash in the pan. We're here for the long haul, and there's a lot of fans who come see us who've traveled a long way to come see us, and people have been coming to our shows for like 10, 15 years now, and have seen different lineups and have been part of our little adventure together. So it's fun. It's part of our life, really. It's our story. It's something. It's an adventure, isn't it? Is what I'm trying to say, and we're embracing that.
There you
So I
go.
can't even speak properly today.
Hi,
That's
Bob.
okay. Hello,
Hi,
Hello.
Bob.
and in the process, we've got other people joining us. Who do we have here? I see we've got Allie and we've got Jay. JJ, how you guys
JJ, that's
doing?
the one, yeah.
Oh, and there's Effie. Everybody's
Hello, how are
here.
you?
Very good, thank you. This is like an episode of the Brady Bunch. Everybody looking around.
Yeah.
It's just like, are you?
All right, so ladies, welcome into this edition of Rock Talk. We kind of started without you, just kind of talking about the band and talking about misadventures and stuff like that. So why don't we start with JJ and just give us a little bit of background of yourself, shall we?
Oh gosh. I was lifted out of the sunroof and automatically put on a stage and was um in the sense of sort of like what, just general or my musical journey or
Yeah, your musical journey. How did you end up with this band?
so, I mean, I've always loved to sing, and act and perform and stuff. Like for as long as I can remember, I've just gravitated to kind of be like the center of the room and stuff like that, or try and be on a stage. Always involved in like the choirs at the church and stuff that I attended when I was younger, and school plays and performances. Any after school activity that involved being able to get on stage and sing and act was just always what I wanted to do. So when I got to sort of high school age, I decided that music was something that I was going to try and pursue full time. This is what I wanted to do with the rest of my life. And so I took music at college and I started a band called Mishaps. And sort of through the local music scene, so I'm sort of Stoke-on-Trent born and bred. So I have lived here basically my whole life pretty much. And sort of was going around the local circuit, if you were, sort of the same sort of four or
Hmm.
five venues that are around Stoke-on-Trent. I played at all of them every single weekend without fail. And that's actually where I met Dan, who was a DJ at one of the local venues that I always used to play at with my old band. And because we were sort of the age of about 17, 18, the rest of my band members at the time, they were going off to sort of like university and stuff at that point then, and going on and realizing that actually this is something they did as a hobby, not as a main thing. And so in 2022, we did one of our final ever shows together as Mishaps. And at a place called Jolly's Cabaret venue, Lesbian Bed Deaf, we literally just played there on Friday night to give it a big farewell. But that's when I met the rest of the band then. Mishaps and Lesbian Bed Deaf actually did a charity gig together at that venue. And shortly afterwards, a few months later, in February of 2023, I got a message from Dan on Instagram essentially saying, "Hey, there's like an opening for lead singer and stuff. I remember you from your work with Mishaps. Would you like to try out?" And I thought, you know what? The worst he can do is I come and audition and speak to him and he say no. Because I wasn't a rock singer. My two main inspirations are Adele and Amy Winehouse, and most of the Mishap stuff was me and my acoustic guitar playing like folky kind of like songs that I'd written. So I'd
Mhm.
never sung rock in my entire life. I've never had any vocal training or anything as well. It's just always been sort of me and YouTube back in my corner. And so I did say to Dan, I said, look, I'm would love to because I've been a fan of Lesbian Bed Deaf since the Witching Hour album, but I don't sing rock. I haven't ever sung rock vocals before, and he was like, just try it, because everything else seems that it'd be a good fit.
Fake
And
it
that
till you
very
make it.
night, yeah, fake it till you make it kind of thing. I was like, literally, the worst thing you can do is say no. So that very same night that he messaged me on Instagram, because we were friends on there, I met him and our sort of band manager Ev at a pub down the road from myself, and we just clicked. Like me and Dan are basically the same people, just like obviously male, female, and like 20 years apart. So, but basically, we are just the same. I constantly tell him that we've just got the same problems. We've both got ADHD and we're both a little bit chaotic and we think the same way. So that was it then. I met both of them that night and we clicked instantly. That very same weekend, we were in the studio. The first two tracks we did were The Mummy's Tomb from Midnight Lust and Satanic Suicide Sex Cult from Midnight Lust. And that was it then. I was like, I love this. Dan didn't hate me, didn't think I sounded too
That's what you
awful.
think.
That's what I think. Yeah, he was just really desperate actually. So he thought, oh yeah, she'll do, she will. And that was it then. They had a headlining tour of 2023 around the UK, and I joined them on that, and that was it then. I was in Lesbian Bed Deaf, and I haven't looked back since. And you know I'm so glad. Greatest choice I think I've ever made in my life is joining this band, to be honest. Met so many incredible people and we've all written such cool songs, and I've gotten to travel to places that I never thought of going before, and it's just the best thing in the world, really.
Very, very cool. Effie, you're next. Oh, I think you need to
Oh,
turn on.
Can you hear me okay?
Yep.
That's perfect. I've had so many issues tonight. Uh, um, I've always liked music, I suppose, you know.
Mhm.
I studied music at high school. I was like, I really enjoy this. Did it advanced studies in high school for GCSE. And then went to college, I was like, this is really nice. I really enjoy doing it. I went to college and then 2025, I saw Lisa had left. I was like, but I thought, like, should I send down a message, just seeing like, I was like really unsure actually. I was like, should I, shouldn't I? Like,
Take the chance. You
'cause I
never know.
wanted to. Yeah, I wanted to, but I was like, am I ready for it? I was like, you know what? Like, I think I am, so I messaged. I was like, I, and then that was it, met up with Dan in the town centre, had a chat, auditioned, and then got it. Been gigging with him ever since.
Very cool. All right.
Yeah.
Last but not
Sorry,
least.
sorry about that. I just had to plug my laptop in. I was just about to run out of power and disappear. So that's just me, like, throwing the laptop around if where I disappeared to, just getting some
Oh,
power.
nothing sends the
Yeah,
heart
sorry
into
about that.
nothing sends the heart into palpitations more than that red flashing battery symbol on the screen.
I know. The anxiety is real.
All right, Ali. Last but not least.
Yeah, so I'm kind of one of those people that has a million and one hobbies going on at one time, and I can never really settle on anything, and I get bored after a week or sometimes a month, maybe two if I'm being generous. Um, but guitar's probably the one thing that I started and have really stuck with it.
Right.
Um, so even though I've had periods of time, like I think when I was about 17, I really fell out of playing guitar for some reason. I think it was just you go through like a hump, don't you, where you start doing something and you can't get any better and you're just at the same sort of level for ages. Um, so I fell out of it and I was like, I'm just a crap guitarist. I'm gonna learn bass instead.
No
So
offense, Effie, or anything.
I'm just gonna be a bassist. I'm gonna do that. And then I was like, I'm actually crap at bass as well, so I might as well just carry on playing guitar.
That sounds
um,
like me in radio.
but yeah, I just kind of stuck with it, to be honest. I like doing things with my hands. It's the first thing I do when I get home from work. I just like straight away just pick the guitar up and stuff like that. Just felt like really natural and ingrained into me that I just kind of really enjoyed this instrument and just playing with it. But I met Dan through a website called Bandmix, which is basically like LinkedIn for musicians.
Okay.
Uh, and I've had that profile since I was probably like 16, and then a couple of years ago, because I've tried different apps and websites and stuff, and started other band stuff with other groups or people or friends or whatever, and it just never worked out for one thing or another. Um, and I thought I'd just give it a wild shot, stab in the dark. I'm going to update my band mix profile that I've not touched in about 10 years. And about a week later, I've got a message pop up from Dan saying, "Hi, we're looking for a guitarist for Lesbian Bed Death. Do you want to join?" And I was like, I don't know. And I remember just reading this message and I showed it to my partner at the time and I was like, what the hell do I do with that kind of thing? And she was just like, fucking go for it. Why would you say no? Don't be so stupid. Um, and then I basically just got told that I was going on tour. And that was that.
Learn
Cut
these songs now.
Basically, yeah. I don't even think
Yeah.
I'd rehearsed or anything. I'd not even rehearsed with you guys, and you were just like, okay, we're learning this, and this. This is the set list. We're going on tour in 3 months. You better be ready, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So
That's
Dan,
that's real though. That's how it works, you know.
Yeah.
That's the real deal.
and
Yeah.
and it's the story I hear all the time. I mean, look at when they brought in what's his name from in Metallica there on bass. You know, it's just basically learn these songs, go.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, jump on a plane and make sure you know the songs by the time the plane lands.
Exactly,
That kind of thing.
exactly. So how would
Yeah.
you describe the sound of lesbian bed death?
It's kind of like it's difficult. I'd say like it's kind of like gothic punk meets kind of 80s heavy metal, but with a bit of a contemporary spin on that, if that makes sense,
No,
without
that
Been
works.
sounding
described
dated.
as like a female fronted Alice Cooper quite a bit. Is probably the most accurate description and stuff because we pull a lot of inspiration from Alice Cooper, Misfits, and so we've got that whole 80s glam rock meets horror and punk with also gothic culture mixed in there as well. So, I think one thing that we always say is, it doesn't matter what genre we are because amongst all the songs and all the albums we've done over the years, you will find something that you enjoy regardless of what you're into.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And now one of the questions I want to ask is one of our sponsors here on CGCM Rock Radio is Iron Maiden Trooper Beer. And as everybody knows, Yannick, the third guitarist, is the guy that's always dropping his guitar or falling off the stage, falling on his face. Have you guys had a Yannick moment on stage?
Yeah.
Oh, nearly every night of
Not
tour.
as not as cool as like throwing a guitar in the air and catching it or anything like that. Just put it this way, before I bought strap locks, yeah, I just remember my just strap came off my guitar hits the floor, and it's horrifying and it's hilarious for everyone except me. And yeah, so from then on, I got strap locks. I realized the value of strap locks.
Funnily enough, I think probably one of those like moments, and it's quite consistent actually, it still happens to this day, and it's no one with an instrument, it's me, because I run into everyone else's instruments on stage. I'll be like moving and I'll just hit my head off of Alicia's guitar, then I'll smack my head off of Effie's bass, and I'm just constantly just, concussion, third degree concussion all the time.
Stay out of the way of the drum riser.
Oh God, I
Cymbals can
know.
cut. So, what is your creative process like? Like,
Oh,
does
Here,
somebody
oh.
come
Dan, I've
with
got
a
some
snippet
riffs.
of?
It varies from song to song. I mean, it usually you've got to have like a pool of good ideas, I think, to draw from. Like whether it's even it's just a cool song title or a lyric or a riff or something. And then when we get together, I might say I might have a riff, Alicia might have a riff, and they just happen to work really well together. And then we'll build the song from there instrumentally. What we do, which we probably shouldn't do, is we generally start with the instrumental music first and then build the vocals around that. Um,
Okay.
Whereas a lot of other people start with a piano and they'll come up with a melody first and then fill it out with guitars and drums and bass. We kind of you know, we're just very guitar heavy in this band, and there's a lot of riffage that goes on, and but you have to start somewhere. But we're not afraid to pull a song apart, to drop all the guitars out of a section, have maybe just bass and some drum or whatever, or take everything out and have just the vocals, and then everything smashes back in. So you start with a demo, and then you just mess with it and develop it and see what works as it goes forward.
Yeah.
I don't think it's not a very fixed process. It's all quite a little bit chaotic in a good way, I think.
Yeah. But I think, to be honest, in chaos is where creative breeds the most, isn't it? When there's so
Mm,
much sort of going on, and it's almost like giving a painter a blank canvas, really, or almost like accidentally spilling something on the canvas, even though something is can sometimes look really sort of chaotic and messy. Sometimes you see things and you hear things that other people just can't, and I think that's almost when you work the most, and you can together we just be really like creative and try loads of things. We try so many different options before finally falling on something that we're all really happy with. But I think that is one of the magic of our sort of like songwriting abilities and process, because we don't pick one thing, we will try six things before we land on
yeah,
something.
yeah. I think it's important to be kind of fearless in songwriting.
Yeah.
Just try and do something without the box now and again. And if it doesn't work, you need to have that filter to say, yeah, that's not happening. That we shouldn't do that.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you've got to try some crazy stuff or some mad ideas you haven't done before. Otherwise, you might end up becoming one of those bands that just makes the same record time and time again, but with a different title. And I really don't want us to be one of those bands,
Yeah.
where all the good ideas are on the first two albums and everything else is just a rehash of those first two.
Yeah.
I really don't want us to end up like that. So we tried to make every single album very much its own.
Different.
Yeah, it's have its own character and its own reason for being on that shelf, in your record collection.
Yeah.
It's got to have a purpose.
I said to Dan and the producer Steve Lethal, when we first went in to start recording some of like the very first songs for Satan Cellar, and I essentially said, I was like, what I want, like my personal goal for this is almost to have like a different singing style for each individual song. I want them all to be so unique in a way that it's almost like, oh, is this the same person kind of singing this, and in different styles? And we had so much fun trialing and erroring so many different things, because we don't want to be in one box. We want to prove to everyone we're lesbian bed deaf, we can do anything.
There you
No,
go.
so yeah.
Yeah, but how I think how we got away with it is because this new album is also the soundtrack to a movie. Is it kind of gave us the green light to do stuff that we wouldn't normally do. That is not typical of our traditional sound at all. Really, we got to be way more experimental than what bands can normally do within their kind of sphere, if you know what I mean.
Right.
So it was a good opportunity just to try some different things and just to see put it out into the world and see what people think.
Very cool. Now, guys, I do have to say I'm almost out of time on this session here, so I'm going to jump to the very last question here. I want to thank you guys for joining us on here. So why don't you take a few moments and shamelessly self-promote yourselves and the band?
Who's going to go first? Shall I go first?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, we got a new album out called Satan Seller. It's kind of awesome. You should totally buy it and buy one copy for all of your friends. And it's also the soundtrack to a movie that we made, a horror anthology, also called Satan Seller. So check that out too. If you like stuff like Creep Show and Tales from the Dark Side, hopefully you will like that too. Yeah, next person.
We are going, after releasing the album Satan Seller and releasing the movie Satan Seller, we are going on tour. It actually started a couple of days ago in our hometown of Stoke-on-Trent. We then went on to sell out Wolverhampton last night, and we are touring up and down the UK, parts of Scotland, also Ireland and Poland as well later in the year. So please sort of go on our social medias. You can find us on, if you search Lesbian Bed Deaf Band, you'll find is everywhere basically. But come and see us live, because we will put on the best show you've ever seen if you come and see us, and free snacks to those who come. So
Very cool. I'll be living vicariously through Facebook.
yes.
Effie, you've been quiet.
Just if you have the chance, come to the gigs, buy the merch if you can, because that is what helps us out the most, I'd say. Yeah.
And finally, Ali.
I think they covered all of it, to be fair.
All right. Well, I want to thank you guys again for joining us on this edition of Rock Talk. Don't forget, folks, hit that like, share, subscribe, leave a comment, support Lesbian Bed Death, support CGCM Rock Radio, and thank you for joining us on this edition of Rock Talk.